All right, so what I'm going to do in front of all of you wonderful people is run a speed test so that you can see how much Mbps I have to be able to sufficiently do this live and not have it interrupted. However, we know that when I am teaching this information and exposing this information, somehow, some kind of way, there are interruptions. And it seems like my internet is unstable, but it's not. So I'm going to show you up front how much we got. And we're going to get this information out today. And we're not going to stop. And we're not going to stop sharing. We're not going to stop bringing forth evidence. We're not going to stop exposing the truth. We're going to continue to move forward, even if they interrupt, slow down, try to hinder, do all those kinds of things with the show and the information dissemination. As you can see, when I started, I tested it. It had 800 and something. Now there are 731 Mbps, way more than sufficient to be able to share this information with you all through this virtual platform. Let's go.
I will swear in our witnesses. The witnesses will please stand and raise their right hand. Do you swear or affirm on the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Please be seated.
And go over this. Today I'm going to take my time and go over this with all of you. I have continued to teach and tell and train and advocate and push for you all to codify your complaint. So here's a complaint that I codified, meaning put in writing and sent to the appropriate enforcement agency. And this is on behalf of Black children and families that have suffered at the hands of the Lake Elsinore Unified School District. And for over a decade. And nothing that the Lake Elsinore Unified School District has done has been sufficient to be a response to their concerns. I have personal knowledge of this. I have personal and intimate, meaning my children were part of the children within that decade that were victims of invidious discrimination. And so let me show you the way that this looks. Okay. As you can see, I wrote a letter on September 25th of this year to the U.S. Department of Education Office for Civil Rights. As you can see, their address is there. And the subject is a request for investigation into possible civil rights violations at the Lake Elsinore Unified School District. Dear Office for Civil Rights, I am writing to request an investigation into serious concerns about potential civil rights violations at the Lake Elsinore Unified School District. These concerns have emerged from persistent parent complaints of racial discrimination and harassment against Black students and their families that have apparently persisted for over a decade. It appears that the Lake Elsinore Unified School District has frequently failed to adequately address these complaints, and there are concerns that the district may not be in compliance with federal education civil rights laws, which mandate that all public schools must provide an educational environment free from hostility and discrimination. Specifically, our main areas of concern include, and I need you guys to hear this, number one, long-standing complaints from parents about apparent discriminatory practices affecting Black students both academically and socially. Number 2, allegations that the Lake Elsinore Unified School District only enacts pro-Black student programming in response to public outcry, rather than as part of a systemic proactive strategy to prevent racial discrimination. Number 3, persistently poor educational outcomes for Black students, suggesting systemic inequities that may contravene the rights of these students to access a quality education. Number 4, systemic allowance for invidious discrimination. Due to the severity and long-standing nature of these allegations, it is crucial for the Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights to launch an independent investigation into these potential civil rights violations. Our goal is to ensure that Lake Elsinore Unified School District operates in accordance with requisite federal laws, ensuring that all students have equal opportunity to fully participate and benefit from the educational programs offered by the school district. I look forward to your timely response and commitment to uphold the civil rights of all students within the Lake Elsinore Unified School District. Thank you for your attention to this serious matter. Parents and witnesses are willing to discuss their experiences with OCR investigators. Respectfully, Christina Laster, parent and family advocate. Now, who is R in this message? I said R consistently throughout, and I'm talking about current and past parents and families that had suffered because of the invidious discrimination. What does invidious discrimination mean? I'm going to show you right now. So here we are at the Cornell Legal Information Institute. Invidious discrimination is a legal term used to describe the act of treating a class of persons unequally in a manner that is malicious, hostile, or damaging. It refers to discrimination that is motivated by animus or ill will towards a particular group, rather than based on a legitimate, non-discriminatory reason. Invidious discrimination is illegal under various federal and state laws, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964. I want y'all to look up the whole act. That's why I didn't say the number. Which prohibits employment discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Invidious discrimination can also take other forms, such as discrimination based on age, disability, sexual orientation, or gender identity. The concept of invidious discrimination was seen in Brown v. Board of Education in 1954, in which the United States Supreme Court declared that segregation in public schools was unconstitutional because it violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The court held that the doctrine of separate but equal was inherently unequal and that segregation was a form of invidious discrimination. So what are you saying, Christina? Are you saying that the Lake Elsinore Unified School District had an obligation with regards to the Equal Protection Clause? Absolutely. Because they're a public institution that is publicly funded, receiving federal and state funding, and are prohibited under law from discriminating in the manner in which they did. Am I saying that it was enmity, ill will, and malicious aforethought that they treated Black parents and children this way, or allowed others within the educational environment to treat Black children and parents this way, and that when they knew about it, they turned a blind eye? Absolutely. I am saying that, and so are the numerous victims and witnesses that came forward to send their statements to OCR and testify in this matter. So let's see what the results are and the responses for OCR. So here we are at the letter emailed to me, Christina Laster, and that's why I'm willing to share it. On November 15th, 2023. Regarding the Lake Elsinore Unified School District OCR case number 09231785 from the United States Department of Education, Office for Civil Rights. Dear Ms. Laster, on September 25th, 2023, the U.S. Department of Education, Department Office for Civil Rights, OCR, received your complaint against Lake Elsinore Unified School District. Your complaint alleges discrimination on the basis of race and color on behalf of students and parents and retaliation on behalf of employees in the district. OCR is opening the following issues for an investigation. Number 1, whether the district failed to respond in a reasonable, timely, and or effective manner to notice that students harassed Black students, including by following and verbally attacking them, wearing racially derogatory attire, and writing the N-word on campus bathroom walls. Y'all know I got receipts. Number 2, whether the district failed to respond in a reasonable and timely and or effective manner to notice that district employees harassed Black students, including pushing students and engaging in inappropriate classroom discussions regarding slavery. Y'all know I got receipts. Y'all know if this was a time where they said, let me see your papers. Oh, I have them. Codify your complaints, y'all, and bring the evidence with it. We are not making subtle and light allegations here. We came with everything that we've had to deal with and to, advocate about, and that our children have had to deal with for over 7 to 10 years. We have it documented. We have the pictures. We have the emails. We have every single item to prove our case here with regards to this investigation. I have personally previous complaints to OCR from back in 2017. Previous complaints to USDA OCR from back in 2018. Previous cases that I personally sought remedy with, that I helped other parents advocate for remedy, legal remedy. Okay, and the Lake Elsinore Unified School District didn't take us seriously then. All right, so let's see what's going to happen with the federal intervention and investigation. Number 3, whether the district discriminated against elementary school students based on race and color when it disciplined Black students more frequently. For example, frequent use of recess detentions and or more harshly than other similarly situated students of a different race or color who engaged in similar conduct. Lake Elsinore Unified School District, remember when you told me that Daniel, who is now in 7th grade, my son Daniel, and he was in your district in the 1st and 2nd and kindergarten? Remember when y'all told me that lunch recess for a month because he bounced the ball for literally seconds after the bell rung, and you gave him lunch detention for a month? He had to pick up trash around the playground. Remember when y'all told me that was okay? He was only 7 years old. And I wrote you a cease and desist to get my son off of lunch detention, of recess detention. I wrote you a cease and desist. Oh yeah, I'm going to share it all. To say, stop over punishing children for behaviors that are congruent with their age group. For behaviors that are childlike. For behaviors that a 6 or 7-year-old should be expected to do because of their level of impulsivity That's normal for children. Don't let people label your kids. And if the bell rung at 10 o'clock, just saying if, and Daniel bounced the ball, using my son here, because it did happen, for 5 seconds past the time that the bell rung, and y'all gave him a month of lunch recess detention that he couldn't play, and he had to pick up trash. This ain't no Caltrans program. This is not the California Penal Code of you have committed a crime, you're guilty, now go on the side of the highway and pick up trash. That's Caltrans, y'all. Check it out. And you guys refused to take him off of that detention until I slapped a cease and desist notice on you, and subsequently hired attorneys, because I didn't come to play. But ultimately that looked at like me taking my children out, and which is fine. And you continued and continued and continued to engage in this kind of devastating to the children, destructive and invidious, malicious behavior to small children. That's what we're talking about. And it's not just me, because you know what? Once I issued the cease and desist, once I started advocating, parents kept coming, and guess what? They didn't stop even when I took my children out. So I got the documents, because the first thing that I do when parents come to me and ask me for help is gather all of the evidence to prove my claim. Oh yeah, we got years worth. Okay. So I want you to think about this when, you know, your parents, I'm talking to you, codifying your complaint. You can call your cousin, mama and big daddy and pawpaw and whoever you want, TT and them, but put your complaint with evidence somewhere, right? And I tell you, when you call me, if you call Christina Laster, be prepared with the documentation, pictures, video, statements, screenshots of text messages. Who did you tell? Who did you talk to at the district? Right? I want all of that. We collect all of that and put it in a file. You know that. Parents that have come to me for help automatically know I'm going to take a statement from them and their children about what happened. I'm going to look at evidence. I'm going to look at timelines. I'm going to look at all of that. And I go hard for our children and families, but I'm doing it with evidence. I'm not just accusing people of doing stuff. I hope you guys don't look at my social media and say, well, wow, those are strong accusations. No, I do this with evidence, honey. Codify your complaint. Okay. Number 4, whether the district treated parents and or guardians of Black students differently on the basis of race and color when the district ignored their complaints of harassment and discrimination and proposals for change to improve outcomes for Black students, while the district supported the proposals of parent groups advocating for students with disabilities and students with limited English proficiency. Yeah, we coming today. Because the Lake Elsinore Unified School District knows that for over 2 years, we're talking about this today, we're going to bring it out. Okay, we're going to bring this out. Because we have been bringing this to all levels of entities within the state to help us, and they wouldn't, or they couldn't. So do you remember, Black parents in Lake Elsinore, when we sat with the Riverside County Office of Education for year after year after year to put into writing, to codify? We went to parent trainings. We did a whole host of activities to codify the Black student unions, to codify the African American Parent Advisory Councils or Committee. We had the Together We Can event with Dr. Judy White. Y'all remember that? I'm going to show you the pictures so you can remember. I hope to rejog your memory, because the pandemic can't wipe this away. Okay? And all of those things that we put as reasonable requests, which wasn't really our work anyway. We created a whole LCAP goal for Black students, local control and accountability plan, under the local control funding formula, we created a goal to see progress and outcomes for Black children, and a goal around how to engage us under the framework that the California Department of Education and the legislature has implied is needed to do work within a unified school district. We created all of that with the support and the attempted advocacy of the County Office of Education, who is their authorizer per se. And you know what they did? The Lake Elsinore Unified School District. We don't do that here. Really? Interesting. What I mean by that, they put the plan on the shelf and then didn't bring it out until Black parents start complaining. And they said, oh, we already have a plan. But are you implementing that plan? No, you're not. Okay? And we can go back in 3 at least cycles of local control and accountability, LCAP, and look at the fact that they never rolled out our plan. But they did for the EL students, and they did for the special needs students, and we went through the same process, procedures and protocols as those families, and even more. We did heightened amount of work. And we brought the plan, and they never utilized it. And they didn't care about treating BSU, Black Student Unions, as an official organization. They rather treat them like a club. And they never wanted to take the African American Parent Advisory Council seriously. And we went before the board to initiate all of our processes. Okay? I was the one that spearheaded this work in the Lake Elsinore Unified School District because I thought it would be a response to the invidious discrimination. I thought it would help to mitigate some of the issues that our children and families faced. So I know about all of this that has continued to go on and on and on. And without oversight and without intervention and without protection, the students and the families in Lake Elsinore Unified School District still sit in danger today. I'm talking about the Black ones. Okay, let's look at number 5. Whether the district retaliated against district employees who raised concerns about different treatment and harassment of students on the basis of race and color by ignoring, shunning, and excluding the employees. We have our proof. We have our evidence. If they were to ask us for our papers, we got them. If they were to sit down and say we need to view your papers in person, we have filing cabinets, okay? Full. If they were to ask us, which they are, and which we already have this stuff input it for, our witnesses, we have them. Guess what? We have witnesses about this invidious discrimination that are over 25 years old, and they were students at one point that faced this kind of treatment. Okay? I want to know why some people are scared to codify their complaint. I want to know, how is it that you believe that the harm done to your child is not worth you going to the courts or to the intervention or enforcement entities and filing a complaint? Because this harm doesn't just go away. This harm is embedded in their minds because they started harming them, the children, when they were first entering in an educational environment, and they didn't stop. They didn't stop. They allowed for them to be mistreated all throughout their educational experience. You think that's just something that goes away? You wonder why your adult children that went to Lake Elsinore Unified are still having issues with their self-identity, with their self-worth, with their ability to see past, all of these things that they were taught were bad about them. I told y'all, this is not a small thing. This is a serious situation. We can't be scared to stand up and advocate and bring the evidence for it and file a claim and continue to do whatever we got to do by any means necessary, because y'all know I don't come to play. For our children. Okay? And here you go right here. OCR enforces, and I'm going to just say Civil Rights Act of 1964, because I need y'all to look up the whole U.S. Code Title 42. But here you have it, Section 2000D and 2000D through 7. You can look up the Civil Rights Act of 1964 in the Code of Federal Regulations 34. Okay, Title 34 Code of Federal Regulations, or in the U.S. Code Title 42. These are what these abbreviations, these short ways of stating the code and the title are going to come up. I want you to look them up. I want you to read in context the entire Code of Federal Regulations 34. Don't just read section part 100. I want you to look at the entire 1964 Civil Rights Act. See, understand what hostile environment means. Okay. Look at 42 title of the U.S. Code. Don't just look at section 2000. I want you to see the entirety of what those titles talk about, right? And how they correspond, right? And what is it meant when we say the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is enforceable? Okay, so which prohibit discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. As a recipient of federal financial assistance from the Department of Education, talking about the U.S. Department of Education and the State Department of Education, because it's not like just because it's in the state, too, they're not bound by these rules under 42 of the U.S. Code, Title 42 of the U.S. Code, and 34 of the Code of Federal Regulations, which is that CFR. They're still bound by the rules and the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Okay, so they were receiving the financial assistance from the federal entity, the U.S. Department of Education. That's what gives the U.S. Department of Education jurisdiction to enforce their own rules. Okay, and so as a recipient of federal financial assistance from the department, the district is subject to this title, which they are, which is Title 9. Okay, and so OCR is opening the allegation for investigation because OCR has determined that it has jurisdiction, that the allegations were timely filed, and that they are appropriate for investigation under the laws and regulations enforced by OCR. Please note that opening the allegations for investigation in no way implies that OCR has made a determination with regards to their merits. During the investigation, OCR is a neutral fact finder, collecting and analyzing relevant evidence from the complainant, the recipient, and other sources as appropriate. OCR will ensure that its investigation is legally sufficient and is dispositive of the allegations in accordance with the provisions of Article 3 of OCR's Case Processing Manual, CPM. A copy of OCR's Case Processing Procedures is available at, and they give a link. OCR is committed to resolving complaints promptly as possible and will contact you or your designated, talking about me, representative soon to discuss the allegations and the complaint resolution process. I've already talked to them. Okay, they can call again if they want, which they will, and that's fine. I'm going to continue to talk to them. I'm going to continue to give them the evidence of what they did, not only to my children, but to children for over 7 to 10 years, and probably even before that, because that's when I moved into Lake Elsinore, right? And was dealing with these issues and helping parents and fighting the good fight. And, you know, the good fight for me was to pull my kids out, because I'm not going to just keep on giving you my kids to wreck them, right? And so I want people that have felt intimidated from complaining, have been told that they couldn't file complaints. You know, black parents went to the school district to file complaints and were told they couldn't. Like, we don't do that here. Go back home and be quiet. You know that black parents were calling the district and looking for the superintendent, and you had people playing imposter roles that said that they were the superintendent and they weren't. Did y'all know that? Oh yeah, we got the evidence, y'all. Okay. And so I want you, if you have the complaint that you want to add to what I already have filed as a class complaint, a claim that is a class claim, meaning that black children, families, and employees suffered from invidious discrimination and other forms of discrimination at the hands of Lake Elsinore Unified School District, then you know how to contact me. Okay? I did not hide any of my information. Right there. Christina C. Laster at gmail.com. And you guys know how to find me on social media. This complaint is still, you know, like I said, this investigation is open. It has been accepted, and they are going to investigate. They tell you the terms of their investigation right here. All right. And so, as you can see, OCR is committed to resolving complaints as promptly as possible and will contact you or your designated representative soon to discuss the allegations and the complaint resolution process. Complaint allegations may be resolved in a variety of ways, including through mediation under CPM subsection 201B. Under that provision, if both parties are interested and if OCR determines that the individual allegations are appropriate for mediation, the parties may voluntarily resolve these complaint allegations through mediation that OCR will facilitate. Note that in such a case, OCR does not monitor and enforce the agreement reached between parties. Please inform OCR if you are interested in resolving this complaint through mediation. I'm not doing that. I believe that the parents and families will need, for whatever comes out of this, investigation, for OCR to monitor and enforce whatever comes out of the investigation. Okay. So I am not going to concede to a mediation, just to let y'all know. Okay. And so OCR may close this complaint prior to making formal findings of compliance or non-compliance, provided that the circumstances or information gathered establishes an administrative or other basis for resolution in accordance with the CPM. OCR also would like to make you aware that individuals who file complaints with OCR may have the right to file a private suit in federal court. A pause. May have a right to file a private suit in federal court. This is a class complaint. I'm complaining on behalf of Black children, families, and the employees. Now, I knew I had a right to file a federal suit on my own behalf and my children. Okay? I came back for y'all. You continued to say you had issues and they weren't being resolved in the Lake Elsinore Unified School District. And so even after I moved away from there, that wicked place, Parents, you kept asking for my help. I told you over and over, they're going to continue to do this. They've been doing this since I knew about them. They didn't stop. My daughter's 26. She was 12 years old when she first went to Lake Elsinore Unified in middle school. And the girls called her a nigger and pulled her down by her backpack. And the school district tried to put my daughter in a juvenile program. Okay. Then, her little brother, who is 12 now, I told y'all what happened to my little Daniel. Years later, like I'm talking almost, there's a whole generation between them two, really. 26 and 12, come on. And I was talking to y'all who have adult children and smaller children right along with me then. I've been talking to y'all for the past year. Make your mind up, because we gonna move. And either we gonna move for the children, because I'm not waiting for people if they scared. Okay, now I'm not saying that the people that came forward are scared, because we about to move. And we're not gonna stop. Okay, but what I'm saying is that if you're looking at this and you're one of the people that reached out to me before and then decided that for whatever reason you were gonna go and try to, have some kind of intervention discussion or mediation discussion with the district yourself, and that didn't work out, come back to me if you won't. But be ready to move. Okay? And if you're just now seeing this for the first time and you're like, wow, I thought this was just an isolated incident, I didn't know it was me. I just gave you information on how to contact me. And if you're watching this video, you got the information on how to contact me. All right? This is not a game, y'all. Codify your complaint and be ready to take it to the highest level possible and to have it adjudicated if necessary. And I believe that in this situation, it will become necessary. Okay. And so here we are at the response from the Office for Civil Rights at the U.S. Department of Education, who has decided to investigate our claims and our complaint that I put in as a class complaint with regards to race and discrimination on behalf of students and parents, and the retaliation on behalf of employees of the Lake Elsinore Unified School District. You see it's in my name. Okay, if you have any questions about it, you can ask me. I don't have a problem with answering. I think I answer sufficiently here. And so here you are at the next and final 2 paragraphs. Please be advised that the district must not harass, coerce, intimidate, discriminate, or otherwise retaliate against any individuals because that individual asserts a right or privilege under a law enforced by OCR, or files a complaint, testifies, assists, or participates in a proceeding under a law enforced by OCR. If this happens, the individual may file a separate retaliation complaint with OCR. And trust me, we will. Under the Freedom of Information Act, it may be necessary to release this document and related correspondence and records upon request. If OCR receives such a request, OCR will seek to protect the extent provided by law personally identifiable information that could reasonably be expected to constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy if released. If you have any questions about this letter, please contact Civil Rights Attorney Ellen Moy at ellen.moy@ed.gov. Sincerely, Suwali Patel, Team Leader. Now, I want y'all to know that the community has asked me for freedom of information and transparency and accountability on what my steps are. And this is my response for the community and the parents that trust me to move forward with proceedings like this. So I am telling you all today that when they talk about retaliation, you have to understand the deceptive tactics that some of these entities undertake to keep you from, moving forward. And I've seen it in the way of Lake Elsinore Unified School District wants to now suddenly host a party for Black folks. Oh, yeah, we care. Bring the Black parents in here. And so that's why I put in this complaint and my complaint that they only want to do things when there's a public outcry. Okay. Other than that, it's not genuine. They want to send black employees and other people to keep them quiet that know about it. Sandwiches for lunch. Oh yeah, we're gonna have sandwiches. We're gonna go to Subway Bob's and get a whole bunch of good food for you. Keep you nice and happy. I have particularly seen that when I went to the Lake Elsinore Unified School District on behalf of other parents and people that were being discriminated against, they give those parents jobs. Isn't that interesting? The parent wasn't working for you all this time, and then suddenly you got a paraeducator position, right? Available. I have personally seen that happen on 3 occasions. Now, how coincidental is that? I don't believe in coincidences. I have personally seen that when the parents come to me and I went in to, address their complaints, that they're offered other things that suddenly come up to, in different forms, right? I'm not going to go into that, but I got the evidence. And I want you guys to know we're not conceding. Okay? We got a core of powerful individuals and their powerful testimony who have been impacted by this issue in Lake Elsinore for over 5 to 7 years, or within the 10 years, a decade, or longer. And they are not conceding, and I'm not going to concede. I'm not backing down. We have sufficient evidence, and we will pursue justice with regards to what has happened to us and our families and our children by all means. So I want y'all to know that this is not a game, and think about that when you're dropping your children off to these schools, that it can literally end in their death. Okay? I want y'all to think about that when you're dropping your kids off to these schools, that they don't care. This is intentional, invidious. Keep your child safe. All right? You can't yell at the superintendent and principal enough to make them suddenly stop what has been happening for over a decade in their practices, in their environment, in everything that they do. And a lot of people who have this mentality are attracted and drawn to places to work at like this. And they prop each other up, and they undergird each other, and they support each other in their invidious, racist as hell practices against our children. And the other kids come on to school like it's a white supremacist boot camp training ground with their KKK chests puffed out, ready to pounce on your child. And I have seen it year after year. The safest point of black children and families in the Lake Elsinore Unified School District, the safest they ever been was during the pandemic and the schools was shut down. I'll tell you that. Look up the data. You'll see that prior to the pandemic, black children were not faring well in the Lake Elsinore Unified School District. And then right after the pandemic, black children's scores boosted way up because they was at home and safe. And then a year after that, black children started doing worse than they were before. They already weren't faring well prior to the pandemic. Y'all need to do your research. Anyway, we have the evidence. We have the witnesses, and we're not backing down. So I just wanted to share this as my way of informing you all that didn't know and reporting out to you the response for the people that asked me to intervene and advocate on their behalves. Here you have the report. Here you have the complaint. Here you have the response to the complaint. And we will continue to inform the community about what is going on. Be safe. Codify your complaint with evidence. Keep evidence. And continue to stand up and speak up, but do not leave your children in places where they're not safe.